What's going on, everybody? It's Nick, and this is your second stimulus check stimulus package update video for Sunday, December 20th, 2020. Now, this is a very exciting episode because I've got very exciting news to share with you. But before we get into that, let me quickly invite you to hit that subscribe button below right now and turn the bell notification icon on so you don't miss any of my stimulus package, second stimulus check update videos. Now, with that out of the way, let's get straight into the exciting news that we have for you in this episode. Congress has been working all weekend on the final details of the $900 billion bipartisan stimulus bill. Lawmakers have said that they're going to pass the stimulus package with the next spending bill. Well, the government will shut down at midnight Sunday, that's tonight, unless a spending bill is passed. Congress is racing against the clock right now as the final hours of the weekend go by. On Saturday, we heard from a number of key players in the stimulus negotiations. If you've watched my last few videos, you know that Republican Senator Josh Hawley and Independent Senator Bernie Sanders have urged the Senate to pass a standalone bill authorizing a second stimulus check of $1,200 per person. But according to the Senate rules, it only takes one senator to object and block a bill. Unfortunately, Hawley and Sanders' efforts to send a second stimulus check to Americans were blocked by Republican Senator from Wisconsin, Ron Johnson. Johnson struck down the proposal, calling it a shotgun approach and stating that efforts needed to be more targeted.
I do want to talk a little bit about past stimuluses. I personally don't believe they do much to stimulate the economy. I think the best way to stimulate the economy is, again, what this administration has done. Lower regulation to a reasonable level. Nobody argues for no regulations. We need a reasonable level and have a competitive tax system.
To make matters worse, just when it looked like the bipartisan stimulus package was ready for a vote as we entered the weekend, Republican Senator Patrick Toomey threw a wrench into things by suddenly demanding that the package include a controversial provision that would prohibit Joe Biden from setting up new emergency lending facilities in the future in response to new economic emergencies. Now, many lawmakers on both sides were not happy with Senator Toomey's attempt to sandbag their efforts to finalize a deal with a brand new controversial proposal. Here's what Senator Chuck Schumer had to say.
Thankfully, the Republican leadership recently accepted the bipartisan Gang of Eights framework as the basis for negotiations for an emergency bill, which Speaker Pelosi and I had suggested, unlocking the current round of talks. Even now, at the end of this painstaking process, there have been some final hurdles. Crafting a $1 trillion relief package over the matter of a few days was always going to have its difficulties, but we are running out of time. After passing yet another continuing resolution yesterday evening, we have until Sunday at midnight to secure a final agreement, draft the legislation, and move it through both chambers of Congress with alacrity. I agree with the Republican leader on this. We need to deliver an outcome and deliver it quickly. Now, we continue to make progress. I believe there is good faith from all four corners of congressional leadership to finalize an agreement very soon. Even though there are several issues that haven't been closed out yet, we continue to make good progress on all issues but one. The number one outstanding issue is a proposal by the Republican senator from Pennsylvania. This proposal is a new entrant. It hadn't been an important feature of our negotiations over the past few weeks. Only in the past few days have Senator Toomey and Senator McConnell introduced this specific provision and made it clear they feel strongly about it. Senator Toomey's new proposal would potentially prohibit the Treasury and the Fed from setting up new emergency lending facilities moving forward, greatly reducing their ability to respond to economic crises. Again, this is something that only materialized in the past few days and would leave the Treasury and the Fed with less authority than it had even prior to the pandemic. Quite simply, Senator Toomey's proposal would do more than just prevent the next Treasury Secretary and Fed Chair from using the emergency lending programs that saved our economy and stabilized markets back in March and April. It could potentially prevent them from setting up new facilities. It could potentially prevent them from setting up new facilities that look or even smell like those programs moving forward. Democrats do not agree with it. Economists from across the political spectrum warned that Senator Toomey's legislation would cripple our government's ability to respond to a deteriorating economy. The chair of the Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, hardly a flaming liberal, is likewise strongly opposed to the Toomey provision. Senator Toomey's proposal goes way beyond what Leader McConnell proposed in his HEALS Act.
Even Mitch McConnell, who has promised not to leave Washington until a stimulus package is passed, suggested that lawmakers ignore controversial proposals like Senator Toomey's and stay focused on their areas of agreement.
We need to finalize government funding legislation for next year, and we need to pass these measures with a big bipartisan vote and get them signed into law without further delay. We need cooperation and focus from all sides. There is a kind of gravitational pull here in Congress where, unless we are careful, any major negotiation can easily slide into an unending catalog of disagreements. Let's guard against that. The American people have already waited for more assistance longer than they could afford. In my judgment, they've waited far too long for a relief package of the same general size and scope that Senate Republicans have been proposing literally since last summer. Every one of us in the Senate and the House represent American families who simply cannot wait any longer for Congress to conclude these discussions. Every day that we delay may very well cost more small businesses their survival, cost more American workers their jobs, and yes, cost more Americans their very lives. We've had productive discussions this week. I appreciate the good faith spirit that has characterized my talks with Democratic leaders, Speaker Pelosi, Leader McCarthy, Secretary Mnuchin, but the American people cannot feed their families or pay their bills with Congress' good faith discussions. They need us to act. We need to conclude our talks, draft legislation, and land this plane.
Then, Sunday evening, Congress finally worked through their disagreements and reached a final stimulus deal. Nancy Pelosi announced the deal in a Dear Colleague letter that just came out. In the letter, she writes, quote, "Late last night, Leader Schumer negotiated a solution to the Toomey provision. We have now reached an agreement on a bill that will crush the virus and put money in the pockets of working families who are struggling. The next stimulus bill will include stimulus checks, jobless benefits, aid for businesses, school and child care, and money for vaccine distribution, among other things." Now, make sure to hit that subscribe button below if you have not done so already, and turn the bell notification icon on so you don't miss my next stimulus update video, where I will be covering in more detail the terms of the next stimulus package that Congress just reached. So if you like this video, let me know by giving it a like. And as always, thank you for watching.